Okay, everybody. Well, let's go ahead and get started. It's a few minutes after, a couple minutes here after 10 o'clock. This is our very first, um, I got ahead of myself here for a quick second. I got to go back to my Zoom controls here. Bear with me just a quick second. It's our very first Citizens Academy that we're doing. And we have a small group here today, and we expected that. We are broadcasting this live on Facebook, and we are also going to be recording this, and we'll share this going forward. So the idea, actually, Joyce, who's on the call here with us today, had originally participated a few years ago. Ontario County did a Citizens Academy, and the idea kind of came up at that point that, hey, why not do a Citizens Academy for the residents of the town of Kennedaga to talk a little bit about town government, kind of what's going on in the town. We'll kind of talk about some different updates, and today I'm just going to kind of give you a very broad overview of what's happening in the town of Kennedaga. And my thought is that we would do this once a month and get together. This is definitely an interactive session. Ask questions. We'll keep it right to an hour. Grab your favorite cup of coffee. I have my cup of Jamaican Me Crazy from Finger Lakes Coffee Roasters with me as I'm sitting here. Keep going, but definitely, jump in, chime in. It's meant to be interactive, and then let's talk too about things that you'd like to hear about in the future, and kind of future things to come up. So very first thing, I just kind of want to start out with welcome everybody, and you're welcome to turn your webcam on or off. Feel free to unmute if you'd like to jump in. I know we've got some folks that are joining us that I don't know the name, it's not identified, but that's okay. It's okay. You can also be anonymous if you'd like to be anonymous and just stay that way, whatever you're comfortable with. So, and Sarah, thanks for joining us. I know Sarah's on the call here with us this morning. So the first thing I just want to touch on is communication. And Sarah, who's actually on the call with us, does a great job communicating on our behalf with the residents of the town of Kennedaga. As a matter of fact, here's a beautiful photo of Onondaga Park that Sarah herself took from her boat on Kennedaga Lake, looking back at Onondaga Park. And during the summer, I think this was 2019, I believe, wasn't it, Sarah? When you took that photo, I see a head nodding up and down. But we try to push a lot of information out on the town website. There's lots of information there. You can get news information. You can get updates on what's going on relative to COVID and the situation there. There's all kinds of different links for projects that are ongoing, government services, a whole variety of different things there on the town website. One of the things that I don't think a lot of people realize is there's so much information right on that main first page on the website that we never really get an opportunity. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I want to take an opportunity during the Citizens Academy to dig into this a little bit, because when we're in a town board meeting, we've got resolutions, we've got a lot of things going on that people may not realize how much information is really there on these different links. And you can do these drop down links. You can dig into more information. How do I get a dog license? Click on that and the little drop down or the obtain a license, I'm sorry, drop that down and that'll exactly tell you. But I don't know if you know or not, but you can actually read any board meeting minutes online anytime. So you're bored 2 a.m., you want to go through and you want to read what happened at the town board agenda back in November of 2020, it's there. Or the Environmental Conservation Board or the Planning Board or whatever the case. There's a quick link right there. You click on that link for minutes right on the town's main page of the website, and up pops this green window that you're seeing here that you can really go into details. The thing that I love about this function and it's called an E-code, not only are all the minutes there, but the town code is there. There's a lot of information. There's archived versions of the town code, and you can do keyword searches. So I may do a keyword search that I'm looking for when the town board took action on a bond. So action on bond or a bond anticipation note, maybe some wording like that, something specific. I'll type that in and that information pops up, and it's a lot easier for me to find that information than it would be otherwise trying to scroll through tons and tons of different meeting minutes. We also launched during COVID, and this is a huge thanks to Sarah Reynolds from my office here, who's with us today. Our YouTube page is available for anyone who at any time wants to go on YouTube and you want to see a committee meeting in its entirety. You want to watch any one of our live broadcasts, you want to watch anything, is all available on our YouTube channel. And I tell you something that I had a little bit of fun with over the holidays. I had a few days off. I was on TV at home, and I have YouTube on the TV. So I was like, oh, let me type in Town of Kennedaga. I could watch the whole meeting sitting there.
Oh, wow.
Again, sitting there on the couch with my favorite beverage, and it was just like I was back at the meeting again. So
you were really bored, huh?
But it's all there. And that's actually, I think it's really cool because you can go back when somebody says, well, they did this. Well, maybe, but go back and you can read it and you can hear the whole discussion and the interaction, you know, because so often minutes are abbreviated. You know, there was a general discussion about this. Well, you can actually go back and watch the whole thing, and you can see that town board member Terry Finelli said what a great idea it was, or maybe what a great idea it wasn't. So, whoops, jumped too far here. I always put a plug in for this every chance I get. The town website, the sign up for the town newsletter. I mean, I don't know of any other municipality that is pushing out a monthly newsletter like what we do, that is full of tons of different information. Sign up for it. You can, it pops right up there. There's a link on the town website. Sign up for the newsletter. Tons and tons of information. And there's so many good articles that have been written over the time. Joyce and I were just talking right before the academy started about the Environmental Conservation Board. One of the things you can even do, and they do a monthly newsletter, one of the things you can even do is go onto the website and you can actually see all the previous issues of the monthly newsletter. So lots and lots of great information there that we push out every single month on the newsletter. I also always try to put a plug in when I'm talking to groups for our Facebook page. I know there's not a lot of people on Facebook, but there are a lot of people on Facebook also. And we have a Town of Kennedaga Facebook page. I think it has about 2,200 followers. I wish it was 10,000 followers because we have about 12,000 residents, but there's about 2,200 followers. It's always interesting though, the way Facebook works and the algorithms, and there's a lot of people that actually make a living off of interacting with Facebook, and that's certainly not us, but we do try to push information out through the Facebook page. The most recent Facebook, I was just saying again, we had that town board meeting this past Monday night about lake access, and we had 132 people on our Zoom call, and we broadcast that meeting live on Facebook, and it was viewed at the time live. I was watching, there were about 18 people, I believe, give or take, that were watching the Facebook live. Since that time, that video that was broadcast live that was recorded on Facebook has been viewed 1,400 times, and I see engagement is up 348%. So, you know, people, and again, just like this session here right now, very small group actually joining us live, but what's nice is that medium gives us the ability to broadcast that, record that, and then we can go back at any time. Someone can view it later, provide comments, ask questions, that sort of thing. So a lot of great information. Also, let me just mention too, you see here on this page, the Town of Kennedaga little banner for the Town of Kenedaga's official Facebook page. Just because so many people check into it, Ononda Park and Outhouse Park also both have their own Facebook pages, and we were able to get those back from Facebook. So occasionally we do share information specific to the parks, Ononda Park or Outhouse Park, but those were developed because so many people checked in that Facebook actually created those pages originally, and then we were able to get those back so that now we can post information and share information. And it's a different set of followers. There's a couple of thousand people that follow the Town of Kennedaga Facebook page, and there's a completely different set. There's some overlap, but there's a whole lot of them that are not overlaps that follow the, for instance, Ononda Park page. So any questions? Does anybody have any questions about any of the social media stuff before we move on? No?
No.
Okay. Okay, so Town of Kennedaga. I always put a plug in for our town board members, and we've got this handsome guy here joining us today, Terry Finelli. Terry, thanks for taking the time to join us this morning here. But you know, we have 5 town board members. You know, I always say each one of them gets 1 vote on any matter. So there are a lot of votes that are 5-0. A lot of times there's discussion and debate and things change, and there may not be 5 of them unanimous at the beginning, but things get tweaked and amended, and that's the great thing about democracy, right? And each of our board members has different also areas that they're asked to help lead. Kathy Menikotz is our town supervisor. In addition to chairing the town board meeting, she also is obviously the town's representative at the Ontario County Board of Supervisors. Gary Davis chairs our ordinance committee. Linda Dorzak chairs our finance committee. I'm going to skip Terry for a second. I'm going to come back to Terry. Jared Simpson chairs our environmental committee. And then Terry chairs our Planning Public Works Committee, and that committee, I think, probably tacks on some of the most expensive projects that the town deals with, whether it's...
We spend all the money. We're the ones that spend the money.
You do. Well, but, you know, that's obviously things like roads and things like water projects and the transfer station, all of those big expensive things that falls under that Planning Public Works Committee. So Terry, thanks for taking that on for us and keeping that going.
It's a lot of fun, really. I really enjoy it. Not the spending money, but I mean just the activity and the breadth of things that we look at. So
yeah. This is our town's organizational chart. We have operated with the town manager form of government since 2017. You can see that right there under the town board, I report as the town manager directly to the 5 town board members. I get the question, actually quite frequently, I get the question, if one town board member comes to you and says, I want this to happen, how do you handle that? And I use the example all the time of the town hall. If Terry comes to me and says, Doug, I really think the town hall should be pink. I say, okay, Terry, that's a great idea. In a public meeting, if 3 of the 5 of you at least agree with Terry and vote and direct me to paint the town hall pink, we'll paint the town hall pink. But it takes a majority vote in a public setting, in a public meeting. So that I get asked that question quite a few different times. How does that work? And I always defer back to, I report directly to the 5 town board members as an entity when they are meeting sitting as the town board, and they have to give me direction at that town board meeting. And then you can see the rest of the organizational chart there. And some of those pieces move from time to time. Some of those things change up with personnel coming and going and that sort of thing. But in general, you've got the town manager, all the departments, etc. You've got the town supervisor does by state law get to appoint the deputy town supervisor, the budget officer, and also has a provision there who could appoint a confidential secretary if the town supervisor chose to do that, or a bookkeeper. But we have finance clerks, so there's not really a need there. But that provision exists under state law, so that's identified there under the structure. The town clerk has the responsibility with deputy clerks, town clerk being an elected position, obviously, the town highway superintendent being an elected position, and then responsible for the highway department. And then the town justice is obviously elected positions and responsible for the town court. The town, I'm
And
just going to
just
touch.
for the record, Doug, it wouldn't
Yes,
be
sir.
pink. I would ask for green.
Oh, thank you.
I'm Irish, you know, so.
Financial overview. You know, we're pretty fortunate here in the town of Kennedaga. What we're able to accomplish, you know, in 2020, we did have to take a hard look at the budget, and back in April of 2020, with a lot of unknown relative to COVID, we did slash about $2.5 million out of the operating budget in 2020, and that has just prepared us for just success, really, as we look forward to 2021. We had to make some difficult decisions. We had to put off some things, and we really had to tighten up the bootstraps, so to speak. But we are in fantastic shape. In all, the town budget is 30 different funds. It's 28 special districts, a general fund, and a highway fund. So it's 30 in total. So when we do the budget each year, we're actually doing 30 separate budgets. It's a lot of work, but you know, I feel like we're able to really keep a close eye on things with it being set up that way. The town tax rate, you can see here, the town tax rate is $1.03. I shared this the other night, so forget the top of this slide here, exploring public access to Kennedaga Lake. I grabbed that slide from the other presentation, but it's very pertinent. The town tax rate at $1.03 includes a whole lot of things. I do get the question, I pay a lot in taxes and I don't get anything for it. Well, for that town tax rate of $1.03, you can see all of the operations of the town, the highway, parks, transfer station. And what's unique, I think very unique for the town of Kennedaga, is our residents do not pay anything extra at all for transfer station service. So myself as a town resident, I have my little orange tag I hang on my rear view mirror, and I'm able to bring my trash, my recycling to the town hall facilities here behind the town hall, and I'm able to dispose of that for free. It's included with the town tax rate of $1.03. And then for comparison, you can see there the town tax rate of $1.03 is really it's a bargain in Ontario County compared to a lot of the other municipalities there on that list. A lot of times people say, well, you know, going back to the comment I made a second ago, a lot of times people will say, taxes are crazy, I spend so much money. Well, on average, the average home in the town of Kennedaga was assessed for about $300,000. And what that means is the average resident, homeowner, property owner in the town of Kennedaga was paying $300 a year for town taxes and then getting all those services for that $300 a year. What is going on with taxes? I shared this in terms of a financial overview. And what I would say is relatively, for the town, the county, and the school for that matter, taxes are relatively stable and have been for quite some time. Not huge influxes one way or another. Town tax rate at $1.03 has been relatively consistent. So has the county, and you see the school district, a small modification there on the trend line. But again, here's a $300,000 home, and you see that in total they pay $8,155 in taxes, and these are real examples of real homes in the town of Kennedaga, and it's $317 that they're paying there in school tax or in town taxes. Additionally, we provide, as included in that general fund, your roads, obviously, your general highway fund, roads, sidewalks, lighting on 332, transfer station, our parks, and our town hall services. All right, I'm going to try something new with you guys. We haven't done this before. I want to experiment. I know there's not a ton of people on the call here today, but I want to launch a poll here. So we got a little homework here that's built in. You guys should now get a question that should have popped up on your screen. Do you have the questions? There should be 3 questions.
Yes.
And so if you'll take a moment and respond to those questions, this is just a little pop quiz. And then we'll share those in a second, I believe, here. All right. So we're going to go ahead and give you 1 minute there. Exactly 60 seconds is what it tells me. I'm going to end the polling, and we're going to share the results here and see what everybody had to say. I'm going to flip my screen over here so I can share this with our folks that are viewing on Facebook Live. And welcome to those of you that are viewing on Facebook Live. I see we have a few there. So are you a town resident? 50% of our respondents here today said yes. It's obviously a small group there. Do you currently receive the Town of Kennedaga monthly electronic newsletter? Woo woo! 100% said yes. That's great. Oh my goodness. What is your favorite Town of Kennedaga park? Wow, we're look at this. We've got Miller Park and Ononda Park jumping. They're pretty even with Blue Heron Park coming up. So that would be hard. I didn't vote. I guess if I was voting tiebreaker, that would be very tough. I would vote either Ononda or Miller. I might lean towards Ononda, but I tell you, I love Miller Park. I love going out and walking around Miller Park in the trail there and just getting outside and enjoying the fresh air. If I can tell you, if my wife was voting, I know she would vote for Miller Park. She always says to me, let's go to Miller Park. Let's go walk the dogs at Miller Park. She loves Miller Park. So. Okay, so just a little fun there on the, and I wanted to experiment with polling in case we decide to do that in a future town board meeting, Terry. So,
Hey,
Yeah,
Doug.
there you go.
It works well.
Doug,
yes, sir.
I should mention I'm here on my phone. This is Mike Yarger. And when you ran that poll, all of a sudden my phone went back to its main screen and I had to kind of go back in, and then you come back to the meeting and I'm fine, but you go back to the poll and it cuts me out again.
Ah, okay. Good
So something you
information.
should probably be aware of.
Thank you, Mike. Did not know it was going to do that. Thank you. That's good. Terry, hey, I've been talking a lot. Why don't you for the next Planning Public Works, talk about this was a big project that Terry oversaw for us.
Yeah, that's I think one of the biggest projects that we've taken on in the town in many years. It was a little over $6 million. The facility that we had was about 50 years old, and I wouldn't say that it was a dangerous place to work, but it was a difficult place to work in. In fact, when we got into dismantling the building, taking it down, we found that a lot of the structural steel columns that were holding the roof up, it corroded very badly. It wasn't visible because of all the materials and things we had stored in front of them. So it was probably something we would have taken on much sooner had we known that. But at any rate, we did dismantle the building. This project took a little bit over a year to complete, and the guys were very cooperative. They kind of lived in a trailer that we had brought in for all that time. It was especially difficult because we constructed it over the winter season, but the guys all pitched in and really helped a lot. Now, the facility we have here, this will last the town for many years, many decades. In fact, the far end of the building, the east end of the building, the way it was constructed, should we need to in the future, you could take that wall out and just move the building 1 or 2 or however many bays to the east and expand it. So it's about an acre in size, 40,000 square feet. And, you know, the offices for the highway and water superintendent are there, and our parks people are based there also. The facility can accommodate all of our vehicles. Many of the vehicles with the previous building had to be parked outside, and when they were parked inside, it was very difficult to walk around in there. If you needed to get the truck that was in the middle of the building out, you had to move everything out. So this facility, while we didn't, when it was being designed, we didn't ask for, no, what's that certification? The LEEDS certification. But it was built with that in mind, and it meets all the standards. for a green structure. You know, we put in, you can see along the top of the building, the kind of chicken coop effect there. The natural lighting comes in from both sides, so it cuts down dramatically on the electricity the bill to light the building. In fact, we really only need to light a few areas when the sun's out, which, looking outside today, we probably have the lights on. So, but it's a very nice facility. It will last us for many, many years. The people that work there for the highway department, water department, have all the tools they need to do their jobs in a very effective manner. And the project turned out very well. And again, it was a little over $6 million. We brought it in just under budget. So it was money well spent by the town.
Yeah, you know, I sometimes just thank you. I get questions sometimes about the building. Why did the town of Kennedaga spend all that money? Was it really needed? You know, I do hear that sometimes. And I tell you, one of the examples that a lot of times I use when I'm responding to that question is I'll never forget the morning. I think it was like right after I became the town manager. I was coming in one day and the roads were a little bit slippery. It was winter. And I said to Jim, hey, is everything okay? Some of the roads seem to be pretty slippery. And he said to me, he said that the salt had frozen in the back of the trucks and they were having to use a backhoe to break the salt loose to be able to dispense it. And so that's a classic example of we don't have that problem with this facility because everything comes in, it's in the trucks. The trucks are warmed enough so that the trucks and the pieces aren't frozen, and then they can get right out when there's the need and they can immediately begin dispensing salt or take care of any action that they need. Makes a huge difference.
Yes, it does. And also, the facility has at the western end of the building, we do have a wash bay so that the trucks can be thoroughly cleaned before they're put away and put to bed for the night or weekend or whatever the time period is. And, those problems like that are non-existent now. That is a tremendous advantage to having a building large enough to accommodate all of our vehicles.
It is. And then the other thing you see here, I don't know if my cursor is showing up for you or not, but you can see actually the maintenance bay. We can actually get the trucks in and completely work on the trucks. And that also gives us some flexibility now too. We've begun having conversations and actually doing some work.
Yeah.
For instance, we've contracted recently with the Cheshire Fire Department. We're providing some services to them and doing some maintenance work for them where it's an additional source of revenue for the town. And it also helps to save overall taxpayer resources by working together and collaborating with one of our community partners. So,
yes.
The next one is also one of our big Planning Public Works projects that Terry's been working on. Terry, you want to give an update on that while you're at it? So.
Well, the tank that you see on the screen right now is complete. It's being filled with water. I think it should be filled now. The tank is up. You can see it very well. I mean, it's 40 feet higher than the tank that we had up there. This tank will hold 1 million gallons of water, and there will be a second tank going up a little bit later in the winter, early spring. It's not just the tank, but we also constructed a booster station behind the water treatment facility on Westlake Road. That building is complete now. The pumps have been installed, and the electrical contractor is finishing all the control work, all the control panels to, operate the pumps and monitor their performance. So right now we have filled this tank with water over the past week. They filled it in stages. We put about 4 or 5 feet of water in it and then super chlorinated it to burn off or to kill any bacteria that might be in the bottom of the tank. And then it's filled a few feet a day and it's held so that the chlorine can act on the walls, kill any bacteria. Now that the tank is full, it sits for a couple of days, then it will be sampled. And as long as it's bacteria free and water quality is good, we could start using it. And what we're going to do is to instead of just discharging the water in the existing tank, we'll operate off that tank until we get it down to a level that the tank can be dismantled. There will still be about 4 or 5 feet of water in the existing tank, because that's where the inflow is about 4 or 5 feet off the base of the tank. So then that tank will be cut apart and a new tank constructed there. The whole project should be done by early summer. And we will hopefully, in theory, and I'm sure we'll find in practice, the need to have bans on use of water in the summertime, like we've had for the past couple of years, should go away. We'll have the multiple of the pumping capacity that we've had with the pump station on West Avenue, and we'll have much more storage capability. Right now, the existing tank was about 1.2 million gallons. We'll have 2 million gallons of capacity with this system. So it's quite a sight to see this thing being jacked up. The panels that you see there, you see the opening at the bottom, they have a jacking system inside, and they would complete one side and then they would jack the whole thing up. So this was constructed bottom up. It's amazing to watch that thing going up. I mean, it kind of creeps up, but I can't remember exactly how long it took, but these panels are about 4 feet in height, and to watch the thing go up, it's just amazing to see that you can lift that much steel in the air like that. It was quite a process. So,
with both of these projects, the highway facility, when we originally started talking about this, we took a multi-year financial strategy aspect to both of these projects and looking at this before we got to the point of actually doing these. With this one, Terry, I believe what we kept saying is that we thought it was going to be a 25 to 31 cent increase on the tax rate, I believe is what we originally said, right?
Yeah.
And our town tax rate, I think at the time, was 91 cents.
Yeah.
What we were able to do is actually bring that whole project in. We kept saying on time, under budget. It absolutely was. We were also able to reduce the term of the bond from 30 years to 15 years. We were able to put additional money at it. We saved some money with some of the town forces doing some of the work. And the impact to the tax rate, I believe at the time, ended up being either 10 or 11 cents instead of 25 to 31.
Yep.
So that was a great success story. And then with the water project, the same thing. That really impacts the residents of the Kennedaga Consolidated Water District. And again, we took a multi-year strategy, knowing that the tax rate, to accomplish and basically do that, we would need to increase that tax rate upwards of, I think, originally like 15 to 20 cents, and it was about 50 cents. And we said, okay, we think we can get it under right around 65 cents. We were able to consolidate with some other special districts that were involved and consolidate them into this, increase the total assessed value to almost $1 billion of the Kennedaga Consolidated Water District. Provide additional services by running a new line down County Road 10, which actually fixed a fire flow pressure problem, providing additional water supply to the east side of the town of Kennedaga. That now gives us the ability also to sell water to the town of Hopewell and the town of Gorham, and the town of Gorham is now having a problem and may be taking us up on that. And on top of all that, we were able to continuously help the water move more in the system, so the water didn't stagnate. And we were able to stair step that with the tax rate so that we were only going up 2 or 3 cents a year. So I think even with the 21 budget, Terry, I don't know if you remember, is it 62 cents, I think is where we ended out?
62, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, we were able to just methodically go about that step by step so that no one faced a huge, significant tax increase for either one of those projects as we work through that. So, yeah.
Some of those other projects that you just outlined, Doug, are not part of the $7.5 million. They were accomplished in other ways, grants that we got, to help the County Road 10 project and so forth. So.
all comes back to Kennedaga Consolidated Water District. We touch on here just shared services, and we can get into this more in depth another time if you guys like. Obviously, we do a lot jointly with the city of Kennedaga and some of our other municipality partners around us, including we do provide code enforcement services for the town of Bristol. Again, another smaller community just to our south that otherwise I don't know how they would do it, and they say that quite frequently to me, so they're very appreciative of the working relationship they enjoy with the town of Kennedaga, as well as operating the Kennedaga Bristol Water District. We try to be very methodical about balanced development, obviously, and Joyce, you've been very instrumental and involved in a lot of these, and so have you, Terry and Sarah, in terms of the sewer master plan, water master plan. We have Parks and Rec master plan, open space, natural resource inventory. We're obviously finishing up a comprehensive plan now. We have a strategic agriculture protection area. I always like to tout this fact because I'm very proud of this fact, and it's a lot of work for Sarah now. Used to be a lot of work for me, now it's more work for Sarah. The town of Kennedaga was one of only 3 municipalities in the entire state of New York that in the last grant cycle received purchase of development right grant award for protection of farmland. Only one of only 3 in the entire state of New York. So, very proud of that fact. That says a lot about the focus that we really provide to natural resource protection. Obviously, the natural resources, the natural resource, Joyce, I know you did a ton of work on the NRI and the things that we have there. We now have a strategic forest protection area. We've clearly mapped a lot of our streams, ponds, watersheds, historic sites, scenic views, vistas. We have that information now, it's available. The Kennedaga Vista project, I'll just touch on that briefly here. That's a neat, exciting project that we did jointly with Finger Lakes Land Trust, located on the upside, I guess is how I would say it, of Ananda Park. You see there on this this map here where Ananda Park is, and then the Vista project up here. Just stunning views of the Vista project, and the Finger Lakes Land Trust tells me that they fully anticipate having that open, I believe, in 2021, later 2021. They are in the process of going through the engineering aspects in the planning process to have a parking area so that people can park off of Jones Road. They don't want to open it up until they have that part completed. And what I'm being told is that they already are seeing a demand for that, and they would like to look to possibly expand to the north with that project. So a very neat project with incredible views up there. Can't wait to get up there, hopefully this fall, and hike that. That's going to be very exciting.
Beautiful.
I'll just kind of touch on here transfer of development rights. That's obviously a lot of you are familiar with that stuff. There's some things that we need to work on as we look at conservation easements. Uptown form-based codes are something that we're working on for our uptown area. Sarah, I think we're getting close, hopefully, to being able to bring something for the Middle Cheshire Road study back right to the town. Anything you want to share with everybody on that?
Oops.
Can you say it again? Sarah, I'm not sure. I think you're unmuted, but I want to try it again.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. This is the first time using a new computer, so I wasn't sure. Yeah, the Middle Cheshire Road project is in draft stage right now, but the draft is almost complete. So we are getting ready to plan one more public meeting. I don't have a date for that yet, but we will make sure that we share that date on Facebook and through our email blast, through MailChimp, and on our website, and hopefully get some residents and elected officials to take a look at it, and hopefully we can see it through to fruition soon, within a month, I'd hope. So it's a great project, and it shows a lot of promise for potential improvements for walkers and bikers along Middle Cheshire Road all the way into the hospital area. So it's going to be some good stuff with some great recommendations.
Great. And when do you think that that'll be coming to the town board approximately?
It depends on when we can get our public meeting set up, so for the residents to take a look, but It's possible we could do it in February.
So February, March, spring at least by, right?
Yeah. By
Yeah.
spring, it should be completed. I'd hope so.
Okay, great.
It looked to be fairly complete, the iteration that was just sent out the other day.
Yeah. We're still calling it draft since
Yeah.
the last public meeting hasn't been done yet. And we just want to make sure that everybody who wanted to see it has a chance to provide some feedback. But yeah, it's the writing and all the recommendations and the graphics are all completed.
Where I should touch on that, there's the word grant there. We try to be so careful with taxpayer dollars and the financial resources that the taxpayers entrust to us. But that study was actually paid for with a grant from the Genesee Finger Lakes Planning Council, and they've been a great partner with us. We did that jointly with the city of Kennedaga for that project. Our Uptown study, that was also paid for with a grant through the same entity, Genesee Finger Lakes Planning Council. And again, we've partnered with the city of Kennedaga through our local development corporation, and we're currently in the process of working on a study of connecting downtown to the lakefront. And the downtown area to the lakefront, that's that same entity. And then we're also partnering at the same time, just because there's a lot of different things to look at. And the town of Kennedaga is broad at 62 square miles versus, for instance, the city of Kennedaga was 4 square miles. And I don't mean that to sound negative, but it's just a huge geographical difference between the town and the city. And we're partnering with our neighbors to the north on a very similar study of Route 332, the northern portions of Route 332, down to the Uptown area, as well as Route 96. So that's another one that's going on there.
I should just note real quick, it's the Genesee Transportation Council.
Thank you.
That we got the grant through for all those projects.
Thank you. GTC. I always call it GTC, and then I forget what it actually stands for.
Yeah.
So. Obviously, everybody knows, I think that's on the call here, but, we're working jointly with the city of Kennedaga and the chamber on a local development corporation. The organizational meeting for that LDC for the new year, I believe, is next week. Definitely would encourage folks to participate in our LDC in any form or fashion that you can. Great opportunity. Some of the businesses that are listed here within the last year have expanded, specifically in the town of Kennedaga. And I know when I shared a similar presentation here at Rotary last month, they said, Ollie's, where's Ollie's? Well, Ollie's is under construction right now. It's going in where JCPenney's used to be, in the plaza there. So they're going to be a new town of Kennedaga business coming in. And obviously, we've got a couple of restaurants that we've welcomed over the last 12 to 18 months. Verona there, the Tapas Bar up by near Tom Walls. Obviously, Star Cider, very proud, excited what the Nate, Courtney, and Adam have done with Star Cider and built that up. And I know they're really looking forward to a robust concert season with CMAC after this past year not having that. And obviously, Finger Lakes Barbecue in the top or the bottom right corner there has gotten going. There is let me just mention too, there is a new owner of the plaza there on Route 332. And I was just talking with him. He's really excited to work with us, I believe, on the Uptown study. And as we continue to explore that, and he's done quite well in recruiting new businesses, including, I believe, there's a new vision doctor, new eye care that has just recently relocated into that plaza. So that plaza is starting to fill up, which is great news. Future development, I just touch on this. We've got a variety of different things. Solar is definitely, I think, one of the things we're going to continue to hear about as we look forward to this next year. I know there's a couple of solar projects currently that we're looking at and evaluating, as well as some mixed use in residential areas in the Uptown. I'll just put a plug in here for parks. Miller Park. Of course, I can start with Miller Park photo, just because it's so gorgeous. I mean, it really is. It's to get out there, and it's the only one of our parks that has the interpretive signage. And Sarah has done a great job as we continue to add additional interpretive signage so people can learn about different aspects in the natural resources that are available, whether it's the types of trees. I know you're working on the story of agriculture right now that we'll be able to share there at that park. So it's really, in addition to going out, walking around the trails in the springtime, summertime, fall, seeing the butterflies and the birds, which there's a crazy amount of butterflies. It's really cool to see all the different butterflies, but you can also learn about some of the things there, the history, the natural resources, the agriculture at Miller Park. It's a neat, it really is a neat park there. Blue Heron Park with our disc golf. I'll just kind of zip through some of these here. Schoolhouse Park, one of our 2 swimming areas in the town of Kennedaga. Old Brookside Park, a lot of people don't realize there's a municipal park back there, but there is, and it certainly does get enjoyed by especially the residents of Old Brookside. We've got McJanet Park, which is a fantastic overlook, especially in the fall. Incredible photos. Pierce Park, we've been doing some work there, and just a neat little park in the hamlet of Cheshire. Obviously, everybody knows about one of our gems, Ononda, and the cabins. And our goal is, I just mentioned here, we're going to be switching over to a new system for parks reservations, including all of the cabins and the pavilions. You'll be able to do that 100% online, or you can always come into the town hall either way. But that will be completely available online. We also have every intention of, by the time we open Ononda this year, to be able to take credit cards at the gatehouse so that people don't have to bring cash. So I think that'll be an improvement for folks as they visit Ononda. And then the other thing that we were not able to do in 2020 was open the upland portions of the cabins. And I've already been working with staff, and we intend to be able to open those all up this year because of the COVID situation. Outhouse Park is just a incredible facilities. I want to, I always put a plug in. A lot of people don't realize the exercise station that's there at Outhouse Park was actually donated to the town of Kennedaga by Rotary and to the residents of the town of Kennedaga by Rotary. And they come back every single year, and they do the flower maintenance and everything around that exercise facility. So I can always try to thank Rotary for continuing to do that. Obviously, we've talked a lot over the last year about the inclusive playground and Outhouse Park, and that is moving forward. We just had a meeting with them last week. All systems go. It's moving forward. There's some logistics to work out, but everything is moving forward there. And I shared this with a group that I was talking to a couple of weeks ago there. Ari Gardner is the little girl pictured there, and it's a neat little story. She was playing at Outhouse Park, and she really was limited on what she could do, and this is actually in our budget. There's a reference to her in our budget this year, but Ari was not able to play at Outhouse Park because of some special needs that she has. And so her and her family joined the movement to keep things going for the new inclusive playground, and continuing to make a big difference there. So it's a super exciting story about what's going on there with that. Yeah. We continue to work on the Auburn Trail, and that's moving forward too. We actually have a piece of the Auburn Trail that Highway Department just put in for us in Outhouse Park to connect up. It'll connect right by the Civic Center. And then working across the street from the Civic Center, we'll go along the berm there. That's was the water quality improvement project that we did that go up by the airport and then work its way up. And Terry or Sarah, I think we have a meeting coming up on this, right? Or we have the flyer. I think we're sending out.
Yeah.
The Planning and Public Works meeting talked about it last Friday, I think.
Okay.
And
last Friday,
and we're working with Fisher to finalize everything up, and we'll start sharing the flyer digitally and perhaps physically in the mail too. So there
were a couple of recommendations, a couple of tweaks to the flyer that were accomplished prior to the meeting. We all agreed at the meeting it looked good, so that should be going out. One of the questions I still have on that is I don't think last Friday we talked with Greg Hoteling about the crossing, you know, of County, North Street there,
North Street.
just where it connects to County Road 30. Do you know, Doug, have they blessed that, or?
The city just did, so that we can
Okay.
cross right there, and it just
Yeah.
happened, but so that we'll be able to
Okay.
cross right at the Civic Center, essentially there, right at North Street.
Yeah. Yeah. Just over the line into the city.
Correct. So, and then obviously, I think the big part about the public, the next steps for the Auburn Trail regarding the public informational meetings is the section from Thomas Road North, I believe, and we'll be working with Fisher Associates. That's quite a stretch up to Town Line Road. There is a wetland that we'll have to go through, and we'll likely need to apply for grants. That's going to be an expensive project to do that stretch, but Fisher Associates is the entity that the town of Farmington also had worked with, as well as the town of Victor, for that portion of the Auburn Trail. So they're very experienced with it. So I'm very hopeful that we'll have a positive outcome and be able to keep that going. So the Auburn Trail, I tell you, it's really fascinating to me. I live just off of Town Line Road in the town of Kennedaga in Stablegate Housing Development there, and we can literally walk across the street and jump on the Auburn Trail, and I'm amazed at the use that it gets. Regardless of the weather, it's cold, it's warm, whatever the case, you see a lot of people on bicycles. You see quite a few people walking their dogs. You see runners, you see any combination of people doing activity and just getting out and enjoying the fresh air, especially what I would say is during 2021 in the height of COVID, because that was the relief for a lot of people to get outside. Is they would be outside, they would enjoy the parks and the recreation, but in particular that Auburn Trail. And I think that the town of Kennedaga portion is going to get just as much use as we look to expand that and bring that down all the way to Outhouse Park, which will then connect to the city sidewalk system. And really that also connects you at that point to Ontario Pathways and that whole trail system. So it'll be pretty neat to be able to connect all that together. And that's it. That's it for my presentations. The photo on the left is my backyard overlooking sunset on December 20th, right before Christmas, or December 19th. Look in the backyard. And then the photo on the right is down at Ononda Park, looking down the lake there on a snowy winter morning. But what I wanted to ask you guys, what would you like to, and we can certainly poll people and ask people through our social media and those types of things, but what are some of the things that you would like to talk about in the future, or hear about in more detail or focus on? We can always have special guests come in, we can invite people, but my goal is to do this once a month, hold it right to an hour once a month, and just give an opportunity for people to learn more. Like I said, even if they can't join us live, they can always watch the recording of it at a later time. Anything?
Well, maybe, going through the various departments, Doug, like, Jim, the highway department, people in development office, some of the situations, things that they look at, how they accomplish their tasks. It might be interesting to the public to see that, somebody comes in for a building permit, what's involved in that process? What happens to that application once it's turned in? I'm sure Jim has a lot of colorful stories to tell about the highway department and the water gang. So, just something like that.
I was thinking something like that. Do you think that there would also be an interest, if we maybe took a in-depth look, maybe one time, or at least for part of the time, maybe at the LDC, or maybe some of the stuff we do jointly with the city, some of that kind of stuff. Always invite them.
I think economic development is probably would be of interest. Also, natural resource protections in our town, what we're doing, what we plan to do, some of the documents that have recently been adopted by the town board. I do think that people are interested in natural resources now, and that would be a good topic, I think.
Okay. would, obviously we had a lot of interest the other night with our conversation relative to lake access, but that also, I think, ties into also the comprehensive plan. Maybe even if it's not a whole meeting, we could spend a little bit of time talking about the comprehensive plan at one of these sessions too.
Sure, that's a good
Well,
idea.
Yeah, how it impacts our way of life in the town of Kennedaga, you know, everything from ordinance development through, you know, resource protection and what the future really looks like. Yeah, that'd be good.
Yep. Okay. All right. Very good. Well, that's all I have for today. Does anybody have any questions? Mike, thanks for joining us. Do you have any questions or any comments or suggestions or anything?
Yeah, I'd like to say that the town does an excellent job communicating with the public. And it's not just the town residents. I think you do a good job of getting your information out to the public on a much wider scale as well, particularly with the residents of the city of Kennedaga. And Sarah, I applaud you for all the work that you do in assisting with that. One of the things I'd like to see the town focus a little bit more on is working on developing their history, so that's more accessible. I know there is some information on town history on the town site, but I think there's some more that could be developed there. Community gardens is a topic that's been brought up before, and there really doesn't seem to be much availability in the city as far as having like a shared community garden. And I think that's a possibility of a program that the city and town might be able to, cooperate on. There's probably much less of a need for that on the town level, but people with little quarter-acre lots in the city sometimes have a desire to grow their own food and just don't have the space to do so. Also, I've always had an interest in developing a tool library in the area, and some assistance with locating or finding locations where something like that could go up. Also some grant possibilities, things like that would be helpful. And I also applaud the cooperation that you guys have on the LDC. That started a year ago, I think, roughly a year ago. And in the 1 year that it has been in operation, it's made tremendous strides. And I applaud that. I like the way that system is developing. I like to see that it's not just there handing out money to, rich developers to convince them to do projects in the area. So I applaud the work that's going on there.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Appreciate your comments and some neat ideas and everything there. So, all right. Joyce, Terry, anything either one of you'd like to share before we wrap up today?
I'm very excited about the Citizens Academy. I think it will be an asset for the rest of this year. I think more will be joining, and the more participation we have with our residents, I think the more embedded they become in its operation. So that's a good thing. So thank you, Doug.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I echo Joyce's words there too. I think we need to communicate that we successfully got through this one today.
That's right.
And people are welcome to join in the future, so
That's right.
Maybe give some notice of what the topic would be. It might attract some interest, not an agenda formally, but just a general theme that would be used. So yeah, I think it's a good idea, Doug.
Absolutely. We can definitely do that. So, okay. All right, everybody. Well, we'll wrap it up then with that, and we'll work on some topics and stuff. And I think that's a great idea. That's something I thought about too, Terry, is we'll get the topic out in advance before the next one and get some special guests with us and that sort of thing. So thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye, buddy.
Take care. Bye-bye.